welcome to The Corporate Mechanic, your show that gives you nuggets of management wisdom. In today's session, we'll talk about how to choose the right candidate for the job. We'll tackle various factors to consider and things to watch out when interviewing applicants. If you're a hiring manager, you definitely need to save this episode. Now here's your host, Mr. Joey Magliari.
Thank you very much for that wonderful introduction. So, hello everyone. This is Joey, the corporate mechanic, and you're listening to our podcast entitled The Corporate Mechanic. Okay? So, today we'll talk about a topic that I'm pretty sure a lot of you would really like to know about, which is how to choose the right candidate. As a hiring manager, building your team is one of your most important tasks. In doing so, you need to hire people to fill your vacancies. But how can you get the right people in the company? Now, this session is meant to give you some practical tips in doing just that. Now, before we start, I'd just like to give you a little caveat here. This is not an exact science. Hiring people will still be a hit or miss type of thing. Now, my intention really in this episode is to give you some general guidance as to what to think about and what to do whenever you are hiring people. Because oftentimes, we've been hiring people that do not really meet the right qualifications or eventually leave the company because they can't row in the same direction as the rest of the organization. So just to limit these situations from happening, and hopefully this will help you get the right people in your team. Okay. Now, one of the most important things that I would like to mention is that whenever you hire, you need to hire for attitude. Let me repeat that. Hire for attitude. Attitude should take precedence over things like skills, experience, and other traits. Skills, you can always teach skills. If a person is not knowledgeable in something, he can eventually learn those skills. In terms of experience, experience can be gained. If a person is not as experienced as other candidates, that's actually okay because experience can be learned at any rate, and sometimes experience can even be detrimental to the organization if you get, let's just say, somebody that's very experienced coming from a different company and then you hire that person. There is a tendency for that person to be too stuck to his old ways of doing things. And I've seen so many organizations have problems because the new employee tries to bring in the things that he experienced before in his previous company to the new company. Sometimes that's a good thing, especially if your company does not have that experience yet. But at the same time, that can also work the other way, wherein you're already built up and then somebody just can't really fit in to the organization. Okay. So again, attitude wins. Okay. So you need to check if the person has the right attitude. So what do we mean by checking the person if he has the right attitude? Well, this is a very generic and a very general statement. It can happen in so many ways. It's not just all about looking at the resume or the CV. I do look at the resume, but I only look at that as a reference. I don't really read the resume and take it as Bible truth. It's something that I use as a reference, but really at the end of the day, I try to see the attitude of the person as I am interviewing that person. Now, one thing that it might come out as rude, but I actually do this at times. I actually let the candidate wait a little bit for me whenever there's an interview. Let's just say the interview scheduled at around 10 in the morning, and then I actually start the interview something like 10:15 and even sometimes 10:30. That you might feel, some of you guys, especially the younger ones, might feel that, hey, isn't that rude, or aren't you being bad on the candidate and stuff? Yeah, that's true. It's unfair to a certain degree and whatnot. But at the end of the day, what am I trying to do? I'm trying to weed out those candidates that are just here to apply and whatnot. I really want somebody who can think under pressure. I want somebody who can carry himself even amongst inconveniences, because any organization will have its own set of inconveniences. If you can't be inconvenienced by the fact that you waited in a couple of minutes for a meeting, then that's a red flag for me as a hiring manager. So you need to show that type of skill. You need to show that type, sorry, not skill. You need to show that type of attitude. And that's one simple way for me to check on that. I'm doing that deliberately, not because I'm a lazy guy or whatnot, but because I want to check that person's attitude. Okay. Another way of checking for attitude is by coming up with questions that are, let me put it this way, these are questions that come out of the blue, questions that the candidate probably hasn't even thought of and hasn't even prepared for. Because oftentimes, typical interview questions will say, tell me about yourself, tell me about an experience wherein you did this, you did that. That's something that a candidate can really rehearse, you know it's something that the candidate can already have prepared and even stated to hiring managers for dozens of times already. While I'm not saying that there's no value in doing that, by all means ask these questions. That's fine. I also ask those questions as well. But then try to insert questions that a candidate probably hasn't thought of. Example would be, uh I'm thinking tell me of, for example, you're stranded in an island and you need to bring three things with you. What would these three things be? So that's an example question. I remember there was a time, I think in Google, they had some lateral thinking questions. So why are manholes a circle? And some other type of questions that definitely the person probably has not thought of. There was a time in a company that I worked for, and if some of my previous staff are listening to this podcast, they would actually talk about one question that I often ask, which is, why would you wear green to a party? It's a funny question. It simply comes from nowhere, and the only reason why I ask that questions is I want to see how that person thinks you know so it's a weird question. It doesn't really mean anything to me, but the answer is what I am trying to look out for. How the person answers, how the person thinks on his feet, and how he tries to justify his answer are the ones that are of most importance to me you know so that's what I typically do. I ask questions that the person has not thought of. You can come up with questions that are related to the job. Just make sure that it's something that the person probably has not thought of before. Okay. So uh, the thing there is that if you come up with these types of questions, uh, the person shows interest in the job. Okay, so some of the questions that you also need to look into is, why is that person leaving his old employer? I want to weed out whether a candidate is somebody that just wants to leave his current employer, somebody who's fed up with his current employer, or somebody who's just in it for the money. Trying to look for better opportunities. I'm not saying that looking for better opportunities is a bad thing. By all means, if there's greener pastures out there, go for it. But nonetheless, it's actually a bad sign if what the candidate is looking for is all geared towards his own personal gain. Not that there's anything wrong with it. Again, that's fine. But if that's what you're trying to show your potential employer, then that's a red flag if you're the hiring manager. If all you're seeing is a person looking out for himself and not really the interest of the company, then that's something that to me would be a red flag. Okay. Now, another thing that I look into besides attitude, so I guess this is the next thing that I need to consider is potential. Okay. So a person needs to have potential outside what I actually need from the minimum job requirements. Okay. So it's good to have somebody who has potential, meaning somebody who has skills and capabilities that are beyond what I actually need in the job or the position. So during the interview, I always try to look for things like leadership potential. I try to look for communication skills. I try to look for a person's ability to think on his feet. And these are things that might not be needed right now for the current job, but if that person shows these capabilities, then that's a good sign for me, you know. So attitude and potential are two things that I am pretty much looking for. Now, this doesn't mean that as long as you have attitude and you have potential, I'll automatically hire you. No, definitely not. What I'm trying to say is that if a candidate meets the minimum requirements, whatever that minimum requirements would be, amongst all the candidates that meet the minimum requirements, I will choose number one, the person that has the right attitude, and secondly, a person who has good potential. If let's just say the minimum requirements would be 2 years experience in a specific field or a specific type of job, if another candidate has like 5 or 10 years of experience, that's not added points for me. I won't get that other person because he has way more experience than what I actually need. All I need are people who meet the minimum requirements, and then from then on, I look at the people with the right attitude and with the right potential. Okay. So last thing that I need to consider, and this is only applicable if you're building a team, is do we have the right complement of people? What I mean by this is I need to look uh, for people, for candidates that would complement one another. So I don't try to create one template and I use that as a basis for hiring my team. That's actually a bad idea. Why? Because if you do it in that manner, the guys that you hire for your team are exactly the same as one another. They all have the same skills, the same capabilities, the same attitude, the same potential, and you lose out on the dynamism that you will get out of getting people with different capabilities. You want to come up with a diverse team with different skills. Because what happens there is at the end of the day, you end up with people just like you, the hiring manager. And I've seen that. Trust me, I've seen organizations wherein every other member of the team is just like their manager. Because the manager, the only thing that he looks for are people who are just like him. People who have the same attitude, have the same personality as him. And that's sad, you know. You know, if you look at, let's just say, a basketball team, for example, and you use this analogy, you end up with a team of centers or a team of all guards or all forwards. You know, they don't have the right complement. You want people who have skills that complement one another. In fact, you know, if you're a manager who, let's just say, you consider yourself an introvert, by all means get an extrovert in your team. You want somebody that can complement your weakness, you know, somebody whose strength is your weakness so that you get a better team as a whole. So that's something that you need to consider as well. Form a team, not just get people that are just like you. All right? So there, so these are some, feedback or some tips and considerations that I can give you guys whenever you're hiring the right people. Okay, so while you do all the other stuff, please do take these into consideration so that at the end of the day, you can get the best possible resources for your team, for your organization. Okay, so I hope this helps. Happy hiring, everybody, and have a good day. Bye for now.
Thank you for listening to The Corporate Mechanic. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow our channel. Stay tuned for our next episode. Bye, guys. Stay safe and stay awesome. Are you interested in learning more from The Corporate Mechanic? We provide business and management consultancy services, as well as corporate training and speaking engagements. Send us a direct message or send an email to madmaxgmail.com.